A very wet Sonoma was a real test for our drivers, but the challenge won't lighten this weekend with everyone facing off at the mammoth Circuit of the Americas. It's time to go racing once again as we get ready for the Porsche Sprint Challenge USA West Series. I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Joey Atterbury. Joey, will this track make it more like the Wild West Series, you think?
Well, we're about to find out, and let's take a look at the track map here at Circuit of the Americas. COTA is what it's known as. The front straightaway drives us uphill to turn number 1, Big Red, one of the most iconic corners that we have here on this circuit. And then sector number 1 pretty much consists of this S section all the way down to turn number 6. Turn number 11, a key corner because you got to get the launch out onto that back straightaway, but be careful to keep it on the racetrack at the end down there at turn number 12. Turn 15 is where things really slow down into that kind of tower stadium section, and then turn 19 and 20 to round out the lap here at COTA, just under 3.5 miles.
And for today's lineup, we do see Brandon Hankins on the pole once again. Mark Krigler will flank him for our Cup cars. Then in third, it's Manny Gil del Real. Alex Pratt did not set a time. We don't believe he will be lining up. Down in the Caymans, Greg Herbach is on the pole position. It is Justin Lewis starting to his outside. And that should be our Cayman field, as Anna Cecchi and Greg Cecchi also will unlikely be taking part in today's race. So we have them lined up. We have them coming through the final sector of the track. We're getting ready for a 35-minute plus 1 lap race with mixed class racing, Joey.
Yeah, and you know what? A very, very pleasant surprise out here after only having, call it a handful of cars turn laps in qualifying. It actually looks like we've got at least 8 from what I see, cars out there. So both Cecchis are out there. I see Manny out there, and I believe it's Alex Pratt as well. So a very pleasant surprise.
Yeah, apologies. So we were not aware that they were actually going to be on the grid on this one. But yes, we're very happy to see more participants in this one. Should make for quite a fun race out there. And as we come up to turn 20, the safety car is already in. We wait for them to get to the start-finish line as Brandon Hankins will try and make it a 5th straight win in a row here in the Cup cars. Looks like they've got the green flag, and we go racing up the hill towards Big Red. A look to the inside from Del Real, and as they work their way through that left-hander, it's actually pretty orderly as they were just about single file being led away by Hankins. And up into second, I do believe that is Del Real who managed to take that P2.
I think that's Alex Pratt in the 206 car that made that move down there at turn number 1. So he's the one that's overtaken second place, and here is our Caymans going into the S's for the first time. It seems like one of the Cecchi cars has escaped out front. That looks like the number 72 from what I see. So Anna Cecchi still buried there in 4th place. She's going to have a lot of passes to do in the next coming laps.
I think Greg Cecchi would like a little bit less of an exciting race on this one. Came away with some war wounds after the Cayman race for the North America Series just a couple hours ago, but they've turned the car around, and he is off like a shot. Look at that. He's left them in the dust.
And Herbach already covering off Anna back there. This is going into turn 11 for the first time. You got to get the launch out onto this straightaway here, try to sit in the slipstream, use that toe to close up on that car directly in front, and then Anna's going to hope to outbrake Herbach down here at turn 12.
Now, there are technically 4 classes, but with the Pro-Ams in the Caymans only seeing the 1 car, which, big look to the inside by Anna Cecchi. Unfortunately, doesn't quite work out on that one. But with only 1 car in the Pro-Ams in the Caymans and then 1 car in the Masters in the Cup cars, effectively, we've got the Cayman and the Cup class out there racing currently. As they come around through the stadium section, again, I am impressed with the amount of space that Greg has put between himself and Justin Lewis here in less than a full lap.
As our GT3 Cup field screams by start-finish for the first time, completing lap number 1. Brandon Hankins still hangs on to the lead in Pro-Am. Alex Pratt giving chase, and Mark Krigler there, the top 3. Manny Gil del Real also hanging out there inside the top 4 in those GT3 Cups. And then comes this hotly contested Cayman class here in this USA West Series. Here is our overall leader of Brandon Hankins going into the S's.
Yeah, he's already got himself a handy measure ahead of Alex Pratt by about a second and a half, so he's sitting pretty after the first time around. He's already been on the circuit for 2 qualifying sessions, and now he gets a sort of a little bit of a practice race before he goes to the GT3 Cup North America Series here at COTA today.
And I got to kind of transfer over the Ironman Award. Remember all 2025?
Yeah.
We were talking about Scott Blend and how much Scott is racing out there on the racetrack, whether it's the North America Series, whether it is the Endurance Series, or even hopping into the USA West Series. Well, Brandon Hankins has been doing all of those, all of 2026. He's racing in every single series he possibly can.
And I do love to see that. Not to take away too much from Brandon. Granted, we did see Blend do that in 90-degree heat with the sun barreling down. So I think he had a little bit of a harder time, but Brandon's still doing a great job soaking this all up. And is just continuing to lead away.
I think Brandon will probably say, you got to go take it up with the Weather Channel there. That's not my fault.
Can only do what he's been given. In the meantime, I think Anna's been trying to get by Greg Herback, just hasn't been able to sneak through. She's still stuck behind. Justin Lewis sits ahead of the pair of them. But I have to imagine she also doesn't want to make a risky move because she is a guest in this series, and she does have to make sure that she takes care of the car for the North America Series a little bit later.
I think the only drawback to this is, is she going to, get a few words from her dad afterwards saying, look at how much I was able to pass and then stretch it out. I mean, where were you the whole race?
There's a healthy rivalry between those two if you're just joining this series for the first time, with Greg and Anna honestly kind of competing for fast laps out there, proving who is quicker. Today, it is Greg for what seems like a bit of a rarity these times, because usually it is Anna that leads the way between the pair this season.
I have a feeling there might be a pass attempt up here at turn number 1. Herback got in a little shallow into 20, and it compromised his run, but he's also closing it in on Justin Lewis as we ride on board. There's a deep lunge from Greg Herback. He gets the car stopped at apex. He is going to take over what is second place there, and now Anna Czecki is driver's left of Justin Lewis. This is a good spot to be in. She keeps her foot to the floor and overtakes as well.
And that's exactly what we saw in the Cayman race. Remember, she did that on the final lap, too, managing an overtake when somebody else kind of opened the door for her. So I do like the opportunistic approach that she takes to her driving.
And now Justin Lewis is sitting there saying, what just happened in turn number 1? And these cars are trying to run away from me right now, and I think it's only a matter of time until Anna Czecki dispatches of Greg Herback as well. She's being very patient, very kind out there on the racetrack, not trying to force any issues, and once again, really opening up turn number 11, trying to get the run out.
See if she can exit a little bit better, use the slipstream maybe coming down the long back straight to keep up with Greg Herback. This is for second place in the Cayman. She's awful close. Is she going to make an aggressive move, or is she, again, going to try and stay patient here? Yeah, I don't think she's near enough. She knows it. She gets back to the racing line.
And let's see about through this technical, call it end of sector number 2, beginning of sector number 3. I think the timing line is, call it right about here. And this is so tricky through this section because it is so slow. Lots of times when you have speed in the car, you can kind of lean on the weight transfer to really steer the car around or do what you need to in terms of car placement. But the slower you get, the more you have to rely on the mechanical grip of the car. It's more like an autocross.
And I know we haven't covered the Cup cars all that much. They've all pretty much separated. This is our best battle currently on the track between Herback and Anna Czecki. While they might not be within the same class, they're still looking for honors here amongst the Caymans. Anna just sticking right in the tire tracks of that 49. And worth mentioning, Greg Herback is another one that is running multiple series this weekend because he also runs the Cayman North Americas.
That's a great point. You're right. He runs the Cayman North Americas, and then he also runs the Endurance Challenge when those events are happening. Don't have one here at COTA. And Joe, correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's going to be Road America is our next Endurance Challenge round.
I believe you're right. I'm double checking because I think that Justin Lewis is the only one in the Caymans that doesn't do both series. Now that I say that, or at least for this weekend.
This weekend,
yes,
yeah, he did back at Sonoma.
Okay, so yeah, he has done that before, but coming back down through the S's once again, it tightens up here towards the end, and Anna seems quite strong. She's nearly able to touch the back of Greg Herbach's number 49. Just needs to be a little closer right here, coming down into turn 11. She gives a good think, but then reconsiders.
I think it's more important to nail this corner exit. Sure, you can take advantage on the entry, and you see Herbach really straddling that exit curb while Anna Czecki was kind of right on it. I think that there's twofold. I explained it earlier that you want to have the flat platform, but also think about all the vibrations that go through the car. That's why you see a lot of people straddle it. And here comes Anna Czecki down to the inside of turn number 12. Leaves plenty of room. Greg Herbach, same thing. And now Anna is up into second.
Well, if you want it flat, she left Greg flat-footed there because that was a nice dive down into the apex of 12. Can she catch up to Greg Czecki, her dad? That's going to be fun to watch if they go for fighting and the overall win in the Cayman cars. As our tower now updates itself. And what is the gap between them? 2.3 seconds?
It was actually a lot closer than what I thought. I think that where Greg really made up the majority of that ground was when Justin Lewis was hanging out there in second. Sorry, I got a little excited because he was cutting the apex there of turn number 19, and you just have to be really careful through that area.
Yeah, I was noticing that too. I've seen that happen a couple times in this race, and as well earlier in the Cayman race too. So I wonder if that was Greg that I was seeing doing that each time. Certainly likes to try and take it shallow, but I haven't seen any notes about cutting the course. So it must be within the boundaries, and good on him if he manages that. I'd say that Anna is hustling. Did you see that nice big slide out of Big Red?
She was on the gas trying to pedal that car as fast as she could to catch up to her dad, who is right now in that, call it missile lock zone. She sees him right out of the windshield, and that is one big old target.
So we'll keep an eye on the sectors here to see how it looks between them. And I tell you what, now that she's been freed up, she's just set I'm looking at Pratt. However, her first sector was a personal best. So, yes, she is using that clean air in front of her to good effect at this stage. We'll see what the second sector is at the end of the back straight.
I have a feeling it's going to be another green sector. I mean, this is the first lap that she hasn't been held up by anybody. She's been able to use the full width of the track out there. And I mean, just visually, look at how much closer that number 72 car is now. And you see Anna probably on the radio a little bit, maybe wiping some sweat off of the eyes. That is always something that you always have to do here. We got to remember, it is still hot inside these race cars.
Absolutely. It has been warming up a little bit out there, even though it is not sunny. And she didn't set a personal best second sector. That said, she was still half a second quicker than her dad through sector number 2, and it was 0.6 in sector 1. So, I mean, visually, you can confirm. You don't need the numbers to tell you, look at how close she is now.
Let's see if Greg puts up a good fight here. I would love to see these two really scrap it out on the racetrack, but I have a feeling just the pace that Anna has right here, it's just going to be waiting for that opportunity. There was a big closing moment again. It just seemed like Greg was well off of the gas going before 19 while Anna was charging going into the corner. And those are those little differences that can make up the lap time difference.
And I told you that it seemed a lot more rare that Greg would finish ahead of her these days. It looks like maybe she has taken that personally and is trying very hard now to see if she can beat him once again. Up into the braking of Big Red. A little bit of a defensive line from Greg up into the hairpin.
Put the power down, accelerate through third gear. Let's see if she lifts off just a little bit of a lift to keep the nose down to that right side turn number 2 apex. And Here is this battle for what is 5th place overall, but what is the lead in our Cayman class. Now, I should recorrect myself. These are both leaders in class. It is the overall Cayman lead.
Exactly. And they are kind of guests coming into this championship. They do participate from time to time on these shared weekends, such as, like we mentioned, at Sonoma. So they do have some championship points, but it's not a real attempt. It is all just for some pride and some more track time that these two are out there. That was a good second sector by Greg. He pulled away what feels like a fair amount.
You caught that too. It seemed like Anicheki is very strong in what is the first couple corners and then the last half of this racetrack, which doesn't leave a whole lot left, right? It only leaves a few corners, and certainly Greg was able to capitalize in that one tiny little section and maybe gap it out a little bit, but now we're back in favor of Anna, and she is going to continue to reel it in.
It was 0.8 of a second at the start of that straightaway. It's now down to 0.3 once again. So, yeah, she's got something off of those big corners, I think, that is really helping her.
You get the oars out.
Yep.
You know, when I was starting to learn in racing, whenever you're sitting on the straightaway, you got to help paddle. It'll make you go faster.
Scoot yourself forward in the seat a little bit.
Get yourself light in the seat. That way the car's lighter, you know.
By the way, we might want to keep an eye on the overall lead, because Alex Pratt just set the fastest lap of anybody out there. And what was around 2 seconds is now down to 0.7 of a second. So Brandon Hankins might not have the stranglehold that he wants on this Cup car class.
I was noticing that too, and it has closed in more. And now that Anna has passed her dad, Greg, on the racetrack, I'm sure we can go up there and find if Alex is starting to pressurize the back of Brandon Hankins right now. I think I see them down in the turn 11 area going out onto the back straightaway. And Joe, here it is. Sure enough, Alex is right there.
Apologies to Anna. I missed getting to call that pass, but fantastic stuff. Doing it so quickly out there with 20 minutes left to go. Car 270, that's going to be Manny that has taken some laps invalidated by the track limits. In the meantime, like you said, a battle for the overall lead between Brandon Hankins and Alex Pratt.
See if we can pick out any line differences here. Definitely shallower, more on the apex from our second place car of Alex Pratt. Now what about through 15? A couple different line choices through that area of the racetrack. They both still seem to be pretty much on the same line. And now what about through 16, 17, and 18, this fast triple apex right-hander? And there you can see just Alex has closed it in to within about a half a second now off of the back of this white, black, and red 295.
They'll wrap up another lap. Alex certainly seems to be strong in this middle portion of the race. We sometimes talk about how the cars are set up for being good at the start, being good at the end. I wonder if maybe Alex Pratt just needed a couple laps for it to start to come alive.
Certainly could be. And let's also remember, he didn't qualify the car.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm not sure how many laps he's got in this morning alone, right? So if he's just starting to get into the rhythm of things, it very well could be that the setup has finally come in. He's finally now warmed up. The car is ready to go, and he's going to start to put on the attack.
Here's the thing, though. We just saw that message from race control. That last lap was invalidated. He's got to be careful. Remember, they only get so many before they are penalized. So the drivers have to keep within those track limits, or else they can get a drive-through.
And even just here in this first third of a lap, maybe even first half a lap, Brandon Hankins has now gapped it out. Remember, we caught up with this battle right here at the same corner, and Pratt was much, much closer. And now Brandon has definitely turned up the wick a little bit.
So the way that this will work is that first one, the lap was invalidated, and the lap will always be invalidated if you go over track limits. Second one is a warning from race control. Third one is 3 strikes and you're out. They send you down pit lane for a penalty, or at least add 30 seconds to your race time if you don't serve it. So he doesn't have very many other opportunities to slip up like that. Yes, he wants to push. Yes, he wants to take the win, but he's got to do it within the track limits.
Something I was noticing down there at turn number 13 from our second place car, just a little bit of a wiggle out of the body. It seemed like he lost the front end first and then was chasing it with the rear end. So just a little bit of loss of traction in the slower areas of this racetrack. Not uncommon, right? The aerodynamic pieces aren't necessarily in full effect at those slower speeds, and it's really up to the driver at that point.
Need to use that mechanical grip, know where those limits are. This is one of those sections that stewards are watching through 19 into 20. And yeah, both of them well within the boundaries on that one as they come back around to complete lap 8. Brandon Hankins picking up the pace a little bit.
Brandon's doing a terrific job out there, and we're riding on board with the 295 now. Just something I also want to keep an eye on, as we are with Brandon Hankins, is that battle between Greg Checky and Greg Herback. It's important because that is our Cayman Masters lead battle as well, and Herback has actually closed it in. As we go through the S's here, you see how aggressive the driver is over all of those apex curbs. You plain and simple have to be if you want to make the speed here.
I'm also impressed how close he's willing to get to the tire bales as well.
If you ain't knocking off a mirror, you're not close enough.
Yeah. Well, that exactly. You find the speed by opening up the track, and that's what he has been doing. I think this is a perfect example of why he's been one of the quickest in this series for some time now. He has gapped Alex Pratt to now 1.2 seconds. So, yes, he was under threat, but this to me is a good sign that Brandon Hankins, he actually had some in reserve, and he has now picked it up.
That's a really good point, is that, okay, you know what, I'm comfortable enough to drive the car, call it at 90% or 95%, and that's enough to get me into the lead here in USA West. And then as soon as we've got a challenger, okay, all right, well, I need to push it back to my regular spots going into the brake zones in turn 1 and turn 12. Maybe I need to carry a little bit more speed through the fast stuff like 16, 17, 18. And to your point, Joe, I think that you're spot on. He's been able to pick it back up.
See whether or not it stays in that fashion, or if Alex Pratt will manage to cut it down again, if he's got any more to try and pressurize the lead away from the 295. But Herback, to your point earlier, is still at about 0.7 of a second, so that's kind of flowing back and forth between them as far as how close he is.
Riding on board with Herback now in this number 49 car, so Greg Checky is right out the windshield here. It has been down to as small as what I saw, about 0.6 of a second. Greg running pretty wide there at turn number 11, trying to put the power down. So I think it's one of these seesaw battles where one car is a little bit faster in one section of the racetrack and the other car faster in the other.
I find it interesting that both of our battles sees ACI Motorsports trying to take the lead away. Well, I guess in this case, second place away, but lead in class. For Herback trying to get past Greg Checky. But these two have fought against each other a number of times already this season, so they've gotten plenty familiar.
The wide high line there from Checky out front, a little bit narrower from Herback giving chase. Now this one, very, very fast triple apex right-hander. Let's see about any line differences. And Herback may be, about a third of a car to the inside in comparison to Greg directly in front of him. And these cars aren't aerodynamically dependent. And there's that kick of dust once again from Checky, but he carries the speed through 19. These Cayman GT4 cars can follow very, very close to each other, even with the aero they make.
That's one thing that I love about the racing that they provide. They tend to put on a fantastic show because they can race so close to one another. That was a great exit out of 20. Look at how far off in the distance Checky goes and is too far out of reach in one of the most tempting spots to try and pass down into Big Red. So that'll be something for the 49 to think about. He needs to improve that final corner if he wants a good chance at trying to overtake for his class win.
Feed the car through the S's here. About a half a car width off of those tire bundles there. I would say that's close enough to get a decent lap here. And feed it through. This is such a tricky section because you also have to deal with the elevation up here at turn number 9. So it's slightly uphill going into that section that we were just watching the cars, and then it plateaus and then heads downhill. Here's the plateau when we start to head downhill. And I know it doesn't look like much on the screen, but even that turn 10 apex as it starts to go downhill is a significant corner.
My first time getting to do a track walk around here really kind of changed my perspective on it. Yeah, the hills are much bigger than the television makes it look. Big Red in particular, I was winded by the time I reached the top. It's huge.
Well, you said down to Big Red. I'm pretty sure it's up to Big Red.
I realized that as I said it, yeah. Brandon Hankins, though, has got the gap up to 1.5 seconds, so he has continued to distance himself from Alex Pratt.
And just watching the attitude of the car through that section there, very calm, very planted. Didn't see the tail wagging out at all. Didn't see him struggling for grip on the front end. The shock package on this car riding over all of those apex curves extremely nicely. And, I mean, check out the top right of the screen where you can actually see Brandon Hankins just going to work inside this car. He seems very calm and comfortable.
I guess the one good news, especially after what they experienced back at Sonoma, is that we're past the point of where I said we had a chance of rain. We're now up to 4 o'clock, or no, excuse me, well, we're just past it. We're at 3:10. I was looking at Eastern time on my computer there. So I think, I mean, it does still look hazy, but that doesn't look or feel like rain right now.
No, and I mean, out of our windows, right, I don't see any rain. We have overcast conditions here in Austin. And you mentioned it's cooler than what it usually is, so it kind of hints towards rain, but I don't think we're going to see it today.
No, you can always kind of feel it in the air when it seems like it's starting to happen, but I haven't really gotten that sense. And as we come down to the final 11 minutes plus 1 lap to go in this race, Brandon Hankins continues to manage himself. The gap has come down just a bit, maybe about half a second since we last looked at it, so Pratt's still trying to keep him honest.
Pratt did a personal best sector number 2 that lap. Now, it was only about maybe 15 hundredths slower than Brandon Hankins, but hey, it was green out there. So he is doing his best to close it back in on Brandon Hankins, and now we get those awesome graphics from Cloud out there, getting some speeds up there on the ticker.
In kilometers per hour, no less, here in the land of freedom units. So I'll have to do some translating to try and figure that out. So we could actually see that, it sounds like. I'd be curious to see that. And whoa, miles per hour as Alex Pratt has a spin coming through the S's. Get it woed up. He's got plenty of space to save it. Thankfully does not hit anything, doesn't get it beached in the gravel. And Mark Krigler is far enough back. Yeah, I mean, I don't even see Mark in the background. So great job by Alex to minimize chance of losing this second position.
We'll see if we can get a replay of that, since we caught it right there on our cameras. And now we've got it switched over to miles per hour. More like, what is that, Big Macs over there?
I'm trying to remember the quarter pounder with cheese, the Grand Royale.
Yeah. Big Mac per Bald Eagle.
Yes. There we go. That makes sense now. And actually getting a little bit of sun as well. Looks like coming down, shining on the 295. Who, while he was under some pressure for a while, I think I can safely say he is in the clear. Now he still has to execute from here, and he has to try and keep from making the same mistake. But no longer does he have to watch that mirror.
I really enjoy having these speeds up right now. I know they'll go away here shortly, but COTA is a racetrack that varies so much on that speedometer depending on what corner you're at. And we've got, call it 8 cars out there at all different points of the racetrack. I mean, look, Manny was just down at 48 miles an hour, and we got others well up above 100 miles an hour on the straightaway and climbing.
It certainly takes you through the ringer, this track. Not just on those speeds, but the variety of corners that are available. Another lap completed. On to lap 13 now for Brandon Hankins. And just has to bring it home. Now, we were kind of watching a gap between Checky and Herback. That looks to be at about 0.8 of a second from what I'm seeing on our timing and scoring. So he's also still somewhat close, but not within striking distance yet.
He had a better sector number 1 by about 0.3. And the last lap, I'm talking about Herback, that is, was faster by about a quarter of a second, just shy of a quarter of a second. So he's obviously got some speed in order to close it into the back of Greg Checky. It just seems like when he does that, the other Greg has an answer.
Let's take another look at what happened down through the S's. We've seen some slides here, but I don't think we've seen any spins in the sessions we've been watching on camera today. And yeah, that rear just escapes him.
And I don't think it was from the apex before too much. Usually when you get behind in those S's, things can go south pretty quickly. But it certainly seemed like the car was planted, and honestly, a great job from Alex to spin it to the left side. It could have been bad news bears if it went the other way.
I had mentioned that earlier, that if you hit those tire bundles, they're still going to do some damage to the car. So yeah, great job in the moment. And he still holds on to that second place by about 21 seconds over Mark Krigler, who's still on the podium as well.
Manny Gil de Real is still out there as well, hanging out in that 992 Masters class. He leads the way over there. Anna Cecchi, remember, we were watching her battle it out. She has passed every single Cayman class car out there, and she still maintains the overall Cayman lead, and of course in class, in that Pro-Am class. And now Greg has actually dropped 11 seconds behind. We were kind of making the joke about how they have the very, very competitive rivalry, and it's how it's shifted a little bit. Well, Anna has won the arm wrestling competition today.
She has, and I was taking a look at the best laps. Hers is 1.1 seconds faster, not than Greg Cecchi, but Greg Herback. She is 1.3 seconds more than Greg.
And I actually see that Herback has closed it in to within 0.2 of a second off of back of Greg Cecchi. They are headed down towards turn number 11 right now as Brandon Hankins coming down turn number 2. So I'd be curious to see if the Gregs are going to duke it out for that Masters class win in Cayman.
They were so close earlier, never really saw it start to unfold fully. But if Herback gets a chance, no doubt he's going to want to try and take it. He currently leads Justin Lewis in the championship. In fact, the only race he hasn't won in the Masters category down there in the Caymans was last time out at Sonoma when he took a penalty for passing under yellow. And thankfully we've been green since the start, so he hasn't had the opportunity to fall victim to that, even if it did happen this time, and has been controlling at least the position ahead of his rival in the championship up to now.
It's not going to be too long before Brandon actually catches the back of these Caymans, the Cayman field. And it looks like the 49 has actually passed the 72 out there on the racetrack. And I believe this happened probably in between 15 and 19 area. They're going through 19 right now. And I did notice, I was watching time limit scoring and our marching bands. It seemed like Greg Cecchi maintained his position through turn number 12, and then it was into the tower section that I believe the positions changed.
We'll see if we can dig that up. We kind of wondered if he would get to him, so Herback up to the lead in the Masters for the Caymans. He might be behind Anna Cecchi, but he has the points that he truly wants out there to get another 60 marked on the spreadsheet. Multiple track limit violations. That is to Manny Gil del Real. So he has hit his third. Will get a 30-second post-race penalty if he... actually, I don't think he can serve on the race. I think it is just automatically added post-race.
Yeah, and at least a race control's message says a minus 3-second post-race penalty. So
okay.
That shouldn't be too bad, especially given that he's the only one in class out there. But
yes.
I think it proves the point that it doesn't matter how many cars are racing, right? Race control wants to make sure that everybody is playing the same on the playground.
Exactly, yeah. It applies to everybody, even if you're not racing for anything out there. So you can't abuse the system. Impressive that we haven't seen anybody else really have issues with that other than the 206. Haven't really seen any messages from race control in terms of track limits for any of the other cars. So the West Series has been very well behaved.
Nicely done. And here is Brandon Hankins coming up on the back of our Cayman field. That is Justin Lewis there in that number 75 with Lewis Racing. Up from the Pacific Northwest, kind of my neck of the woods. I'm up in Washington, he's down in Oregon, but always great to see the West Coast racers. I know this is the USA West Series, but all the way out here in Texas.
Yeah, exactly. And interestingly, this is not the farthest east that the West Series is going to go, because they have a round at the finale in, well, not the finale for them, over at Road Atlanta. Theirs will be at Laguna Seca, as that got shifted around. Now the lap traffic comes into play, and Brandon Hankins doing a very good job, actually, just sneaking on past Justin Lewis with minimal disruption.
Really great job by Justin. We talked with him at the beginning of the year, and he doesn't have a whole lot of wheel-to-wheel car race experience, but he's got a ton of other race experience, motorcycle, mountain biking, so he's familiar with how to race, but it has to translate onto the asphalt road racing track, and being aware, that is step number one. He was aware the overall leader was coming up in the mirror and didn't affect him at all.
Yeah, exactly. Probably a very different experience trying to race in multi-class here on four wheels compared to running on two wheels, but he has done a very good job adapting. Definitely impressed with the way that he has managed to get into these Porsche Caymans and pick it up so quickly. But we come down to 2 minutes left to go. Once we get to 0, we will see the white flag come out. Found the replay on the overtake for the lead of the Masters. Here we go through what looks like 12, Joey. No, it's 11, excuse me.
Yeah, this is 11. So I thought it happened a little bit further down, but it could be outbraking him down into what is turn number 12. So we're just going to sit here and watch Greg Herbeck. We still got 90 seconds plus a minute left, or plus a lap left on that race itself. So Greg kind of moves into the middle of the road to go defensive. Herbeck really sends it in on the brakes, gets the car completely woed up and stopped. You saw the crossover from Greg Checky. Now he's on left side. Oh, he was really crowding Greg Herbeck going into what was turn number 13, but I expect from right here, now Greg Checky in that rearview mirror is basically on the wrong side of the road, and Herbeck simply drives off.
And what I found interesting, ever since we were talking with another one of the Porsche drivers during one of the broadcasts about the ABS lights on there. You could see them absolutely light up on the way into 12. You could tell that Greg Herbeck was on the limit of what that car could do.
And you need to be, especially on that initial brake pedal pressure. You're doing 160 miles an hour off of that back straightaway is what we saw, and all of the big legwork gets done at the very, very first section of the brake zone. Call it the first 25% of the brake zone. So the harder you hit that pedal, the faster you're going to decelerate from those speeds.
5-second post-race penalty now added, so another further discretion there from Gilles Darriel. In the meantime, this is going to be close. Are we going to get the white flag this time?
I believe we should, because our start-finish line
there. Yep, this should be white flag because he crossed with 0 on the clock from what I can see. It was close, but I think it ran out.
And at least on our timing and scoring, it does show last lap. So, Joe, I think you're confirmed there that basically Brandon Hankins has now 19 turns. Now call it 18 turns remaining.
Seemed like pretty smooth sailing here at the end. He is still on the same lap as Pratt, so he can't give it up quite yet, and has to at least run a decent pace around here. But 36 seconds that he has over the 2:06. I wonder if there was another spin from Alex, because I thought he was somewhere around 16 seconds behind him earlier.
And just that last lap from him was a 2:16 in comparison to Brandon's 2:11. So I have a feeling you're onto something.
Yeah, could have been some sort of mistake or error that we missed, but at least he is looking like he should still bring it in that second spot, because Mark Krigler is still 15 seconds behind him, which also I think is smaller than what it was. So yeah, that does to me say that Alex Pratt had an error that we didn't see on screen. Brandon Hankins, though, trying to think, I mean, other than him being slowly caught, I don't think we saw any mistakes in today's race.
I made the comment that the car looked really planted, right? Even through the S's, there wasn't any big wiggles out of the car. He hasn't been chasing the front end, and right there might have been the only time that we've seen a tiny little bit of a loss of traction out of the car. I could nitpick a lot on some of these little corners and whatnot, but for the most part, he's been doing an extremely good job.
Get the basic job done. That's what you got to do here. And yeah, I agree that it's been a fantastic race from the 295, getting ready to make it 5 straight wins in a row here in the Pro-Am class for the Cup cars. He'll come around the final turn with a checkered flag waving. Brandon Hakens takes victory in the USA West Series.
And I think I saw that it was Greg Checky that was just in front of Brandon Hankins, so they're going to have a whole nother lap to go out there and see if Checky can maybe close it back up to Herback. We're just patiently waiting for Alex Pratt to come around. This is Justin Lewis. He's going to finish 3rd in the Cayman Masters class in the number 75.
So a podium finish still for him. And then we got to wait a little bit. Looks like Alex Pratt can be the next one through. And not a perfect day like we were kind of describing there for the 295, but still good enough for him to come away with a podium finish of his own. That brightly multicolored car takes the checkered flag as, track limits for the 72. And that was just lap invalidated, however, so no big worries there.
So Alex Pratt crossed the line in 2nd. I believe this is Mark Krigler right here. He is going to finish in what is 3rd place in that Pro-Am class. And now we just patiently wait for everybody else to come across the line here. Just a few more cars still waiting on Manny Gil de Real. And then also the Checky battle with Herback and both Checkies. So just patiently waiting right now. I think I see the 270. This is Manny. He is going to be the winner in our 992 GT3 Cup Masters class in that number 270 car. And I see that Anna Checky right now is basically coming through our long triple apex right-hander of what is 16, 17, and 18. She has got a nice, healthy lead on Greg Herback and really a healthy lead on everybody else as we see our winner overall, Brandon Hankins, there in the Pro-Am class. Gotta love all of these new graphics that have been rolled out here at COTA weekend for Sprint Challenge. Anna Checky rounds out through turn number 20, and she is going to take the victory in the Cayman Pro-Am class for CHR. And here comes Greg Herback in the yellow and blue machine. He is going to be the victor in Cayman Masters. Greg Checky giving chase in what will finish out in 2nd place. I'll go ahead and read out our results overall here because it is also in our classes. Brandon Hankins 1st overall, Alex Pratt 2nd, Mark Krigler in 3rd, Manny Gil de Real finishing in 4th overall, picking up his class win in GT3 Cup Masters, Anna Checky finishing in 5th, winning the Cayman Pro-Am class. And then Greg Herback 6th, winning his Masters class, Greg Checky 7th, and Justin Lewis rounding out our 8 cars that competed in the Sprint Challenge USA West Series here at Circuit of the Americas. And please don't go anywhere because Joe Peak is headed down to the paddock right now to get our interviews with all of our winners, so stick around.
Experience the ultimate thrill, Porsche GT Track Day, where passion meets performance on some of North America's most legendary racetracks. Designed exclusively for Porsche owners, this is your chance to unleash the full potential of your vehicle in a motorsport environment. Drive the same circuits as professional racers, on the same weekend as Porsche Sprint Challenge events. Where will your Porsche take you? With limited space, every Porsche GT Track Day ensures a premium, exclusive experience. You'll get nearly 3 hours of track time, starting with reconnaissance laps, progressing through lead-follow sessions, and culminating in exhilarating open laps. Plus, strap in for heart-pounding hot laps with a professional race driver.
I thought I was fast. Didn't resemble anything that I've ever done.
Beyond the track, immerse yourself in VIP hospitality, premium viewing areas, and exclusive paddock access where you can witness Porsche Sprint Challenge teams in action. Spots are limited. Scan the QR code now to reserve your place at Porsche GT Track Day.
When we began racing, we started with a question. Can a dream become a legacy? Across endless nights, relentless rain, competition that never slows. Through every failure, every win, every single race, we've asked ourselves, can a dream become a legacy? And 75 years later, the answer is clear. Because we weren't built for racing, we were born for it.
We are here with Greg Checky, who has come away with the Masters win here today. Or excuse me, no, it was second today out there. It looked like a fun race. You had your daughter come up behind you at one point. Did you think you could hold her back?
Man, I tried. I saw her coming to my mirror, and my heart starts pumping. I don't look in the mirrors, just get in her way. But it doesn't matter. She got around me quick, and then I tried to follow her for a while, but got a little complacent.
You think you can fight back for race 2 in the North America Series tomorrow?
Oh yeah, a little more traffic, shake things up a little bit. It'll be super fun.
All right, well, commiserations on the second, and hopefully we'll get to chat to you again later this weekend. In the meantime, I believe we do have Greg Herback with us. Greg, it certainly looked like quite the challenge out there. What was it like from your perspective on the track?
Just trying to catch that boy over there. He was quick. So it was fun. It was a fun race. I had a good time, and I did the East and the West as they did too. So I want to thank my team. They did a great job for getting the car ready and getting it over on short, limited time. So it's definitely a team effort, and it worked well.
Well, what about from your perspective? Is that hard physically to do so many races?
At a young 68? Are you kidding me? I got a solid 10 more to go.
Oh, I like that answer. Well, a fantastic race today, and hopefully, again, we'll get to talk to you some more, both in North America and here in West.
All right, thanks a lot, Joe.